hope you're all well. It's lovely to be back doing a maths lesson. I've missed you all loads, but as you can tell, if you haven't had a parent who's on Facebook, I have a little baby girl here who is fast asleep, and so I'm trying to do my best not to be too loud, but is curling up and wanted to say hello. She is dressed, as you can see today, she is dressed in a dress that Jan and Lily bought us, and they're in the chat, so thank you very much to them. She's wearing, I can't turn you round because she's fast asleep, but she's wearing the lovely dress that they bought us today, and we're here today to do some maths. So in a second I think Mummy might come and collect baby so that I can actually talk a bit louder, because you know how passionate I get about my maths. But until then we're going to carry on, so we'll go straight into the intro. Hello. So, what am I talking about? Baby maths? Surely I haven't had to do any maths so far. Well, you'd be surprised. Little baby is only 11 days old, 10 days old. 10 days you've been on this earth. And I've already had to do quite a bit of maths. So we're going to look at 3 different bits of maths that we've had to do since the baby was born. But before that, as you know, I like to have a starter. So the starter today: can you make the numbers 1 to 10 using just these numbers? Now, I've given you an example of how I'm making the number 1. If you do in the bracket first, 5 plus 7, that's 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1, so that's how you get 1. I'm just going to click on the Just Me thing, just because we're going to say goodbye. Say goodbye. That's in the way. We don't want that in the way, do we? Say goodbye. Look, you can see she's all saying goodbye to you because Mummy's come to collect her. So, while you're doing the starter activity, which is can you make all the numbers from 1 to 10, put in the chat or below when you manage to do them, and we'll see if there's any that we can't manage. And I'm going to offload that so I can get a bit noisier and a bit more passionate.
That?
Yeah, offloading that.
Oh.
That baby. So, good morning to... Wow, I've got lots of people to get through. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Alicia. Good morning, Amber. Good morning, Amber's sister Kyra. Good morning, Josh. Good morning, Lily. Good morning, Savannah. Good morning, Ellis. Good morning, JJ. I can't remember what it was, JJ. Good morning. Anyone else I've missed? Good morning, Iona. Good morning. Good morning to everyone. Good morning, Richard King and the whole of the King family. Good morning. Basically everyone who's logged in today. There's 62 people watching it. Good morning, Angie B. Oh, so many people. Good morning. What else? Any more? Good morning. Basically, good morning to everyone. Xander. Thank you. So, how are we getting on? Did anyone manage to make 2? 20 divided by 2. We haven't got a 2, so how have we got 2? Isaac, good morning, Isaac, and the Sharps. Has anyone managed to get 2 yet? I think you can get 2 with 7 take away 5. So 2 should be quite easy. So we've got 1 and 2. I did 1 for you, got 2. What about 3? Has anyone managed to get 3 yet? Has anyone found a way of getting 3? I think it is possible. I can see a way of doing it. Has anyone spotted it? So, I think if we did 12 add 7, that's 19. Take away 16, you get 3. So you can get 3 by doing 12 add 7 and then take away 16. 4 is just 20 divided by 5. So you can get that easily. To get 5, we do 12 take away 7. To get 6, we need to do 6. Oh, well, how are we going to get 6? 6 is a bit tougher. 6. How are we going to get 6, Mr. Harris? What we could do... what about 5? 7 take away 5 is 2, and then 12 divided by that, 2 is 6. 7 is just 7. That's nice and easy. 8 is 20 take away 12. 9 is 16 take away 7. And 10, if you do 7 take away 5, you get 2. 20 divided by 2 gives you 10. So that means you can do all the numbers. Well done, everyone who managed to do all of those. That's an excellent way of waking us up. Now, wonder why I chose those numbers. Well, Those numbers all mean something. I will show you why in a minute. But remember the numbers 20, 16, 20, 7, 12 and 5. Let's see where they come from. So we're going to do some baby maths. And I'm going to talk you through it. And we're going to hopefully learn something today. And if you do, brilliant. And if you don't, or you're confused, just remember to ask questions. That's why I'm here. So, hello. We are going to first of all talk about, I'm hoping I'm on the screen at the moment, but I've always got my 9-second delay, so I never know. Yes, I am. We are going to talk about, first of all, the very first moment baby Isabella Rose was born. Very first moment she's come out and all gets cleaned up by the midwife, and I get told some facts about her. Well, I didn't get told the Isabella Rose bit. We chose Isabella Rose. There she is, very early after she's born. And she was born, you can see where these numbers come from. Have you spotted them all? 20, 20, 12, 16, 7, and May is the 5th. That's where all those numbers came from. 7, 5, 20, 20, 12, and 16 were the numbers you use in your starter. That's her time of birth. And so I was told the height is 55 centimetres and the weight is 3.69 kilograms. However, there's a problem. Mr. Harris is old. And Mr. Harris doesn't use centimetres and kilograms when he's doing heights and weights. If you ask Mr. Harris how tall he is, he's 6'3", which is quite tall. If you ask him how much he weighs, he says, "Don't be so rude." But he'd probably tell you in stones and pounds. But they gave us the heights in metric units. Metres, litres and grams. Centimetres and kilograms. So we've got 55 centimetres. And I want to know, well, how big is that in feet and inches? So the first thing we're going to learn today is how can we convert? So in order to convert, hopefully you've come across to my whiteboard. In order to convert, I have got 55 centimetres. Now, if you've seen in my lessons on conversions, you know I like to do arrow diagrams. What I need to know is that 1 inch is 2.5 centimetres. And I put an arrow like that. And I want to know how many inches is 55 centimetres. Well, we can do this, look. We can go, well, if I divide 55 by 2.5, it actually makes 22. That's 22 times 2.5. You can use a calculator to find those numbers. There's no shame in using a calculator. It's just knowing what numbers to put in the calculator. It's not cheating to use a calculator because we've got to know what to type in. This is the first bit of learning from today. 1 inch is 2.5 centimetres. And we call inches and other measurements like feet and stone and pounds, we call them imperial units. The old units that a lot of your mums and dads would still use. Imperial units. And Mr. Harris still uses. But if we're going to times that one by 22, we're going to need to times this one by 22. So we can now rub out the question mark because this must be a 22. If that's times 22, this side has to go times 22 as well. So we've got 2.5 times 22 is 55. 1 times 22, because we have to do the same thing. Whatever you do on the right, you do on the left. So that tells us we've got 22 inches. She's 22 inches long. But then we still have to turn inches into feet, because I want to know how many feet. I know I'm 6'3". Inches to feet. So the next fact I've taught you, so the facts we've heard so far is 1 inch equals 2.5 centimetres. The next fact is there are 12 inches in 1 foot. If you get a ruler, you'll see that's quite a big foot. I've got quite a big foot. So 12 inches is 1 foot. Okay? Ellis, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to ask you to not write different conversions in the chat because you're being accurate, but perhaps too accurate because we're trying to keep it nice and general for people to remember them. 12 inches goes to 1 foot. I'm not cross or anything or having a go at you. You're being very helpful. It's just I want to make it nice and simple. So 12 inches is 1 foot. So we can then say if we've got 22 inches, we have to say how many 12s. If we divide 22 by 12, we get 1 whole one and a remainder of 10 inches. So it's 1 remainder 10. So we can write 1 foot 10 inches. Or, if you want to be really fancy, 1 foot 10. You put little quotes to stand for foot. 1 foot 10. She was 1 foot 10, and I'm 6 foot 3. She's only comes up to my shin. So she's super, super tiny. She nearly fits in the palm of my hand. But that's how you can convert centimetres into feet and inches. So if you ever measured yourself in metres and centimetres, you can then convert it back by knowing you have to divide by 2.5 to see how many inches you are, and then divide by 12 to see how many feet and inches you are, because there are 12 inches in 1 foot. Okay, so hopefully that's interesting and useful to you. So that's the first thing I did when the baby was born. I had to work out, well, what does that mean? How much is she? But it wasn't just, where am I going? It wasn't just height. It also had her weight in kilograms. And I don't understand well, I do understand kilograms, but I prefer stone and pounds. And I knew that if the first thing my mum's going to do is say to me, well, how much does she weigh? And she'd want it in pounds. So I have to carry on and go down here a little bit. We need another conversion. The next conversion I'm going to give you is that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces, Oz. But we haven't done anything yet to convert to pounds. So 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. So, they gave me the weight of... Do you remember what the weight was? Well, let's flick over so we can see. I don't think I ever flicked back, did I? You're still on that screen. So you can see 3.69. If I come back here, which is where I thought you were, but you're not with me, but you are now. So we can see 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds, and 1 pound is 16 ounces. And the thing was 3.69 kilograms. So again, kilograms, 1 kilogram goes to 2.2 pounds. We got 3.69. This time my arrow diagram I'm going to use going down this side. That's times 3.69. So if I get 2.2 and times it by 3.69, I get, well, let's see what we get. It's 3.69 times 2.2 is 8.118. 8.118 pounds. Or 8 pounds and 1 ounce. It's not exactly 1 ounce, but it's approximately. I rounded it a little bit because I have to divide that little bit times that little bit by 16 to see how many ounces it is. So I take away 8 and I do 0.118 times by 16, but it actually makes, well, it makes 2. I've been telling people wrong. I've been telling people 8 pounds 1, but she was 8 pounds 2. I did my conversion wrong. Oh, Mr. Harris, that will never do. So it's 8.2. Not 8.2. Don't use point. Once you've converted, you want to avoid using a decimal point. I'm tired, that's my excuse today. 8 pounds 2 ounces, which I've been told is quite a heavy baby. But she does feel a bit heavier, especially at 4 in the morning when you're trying to feed her. Okay, so that is the conversions I had to do. Straight away at the start, I had to do some conversions just to work out how much your height was and weight was. And so I was still wiping away tears from being all happy that she was born, and I was trying to do some maths as well. So, as you can see, that was within minutes of baby being born. We had some maths to do. So, the next thing I have to do is talk about feeding. Now, partly Isabella Rose is being breastfed and getting breast milk, but partly we're having to use some formula as well just to supplement it. So this is on the guide on the formula I'm having to use, because every time I make formula I have to work out how much to give her. So as you can see, you can possibly work out from here, how much do you think you would be giving her? How much milk do you think she has to have on each feed? How many feeds does she need to have a day? How much milk does she need to have a day? So where do you think it needs to be? It was rounded up, Josh, because when I convert it, it changes from 116. When I convert it into ounces, it goes to 188, which rounds up. But it's a good spot. Very, very good spot. On the screen, you should now be able to see a conversion table. Has anyone spotted which ones we should be using at the moment? Where should I be reading? If anything, I'm checking that I'm reading the table properly. I've got to make sure I'm doing it properly and giving her the right amount of milk. Oh, sorry, it's Sophie and Josh. Sorry. Yeah. So hopefully you can all see she's not 2 weeks yet. She's 10 days old. So I should be in the top row of this column. And you'll notice that's about right. We were just talking about her being about 8 pounds and 2 ounces. You lose a bit of baby weight in the first week, so she went down a bit below that. So she went to about 7¾ pounds, and that was about right. So you need to read along, and it says we need 3 level scoops of feed and 90 millilitres. But it's easier. I use the ounces because I can put 3 in 3. And you'll notice this gets a bit easier if you just use the fluid ounces. It's 3 scoops for 3 fluid ounces, 4 scoops for 4 fluid ounces. And you have to watch how many feeds she needs a day. If she needs 6 feeds per 24 hours, how long do I have to wait between feeds? Can you all spot how long I'm going to need to wait between feeds? If I've got 6 feeds to do every 24 hours, how long is she going to need to wait? Because partly, when she's having breast milk, she pretty much, when she wakes up and demands it, that's what she has. But we need to also make sure she's getting enough. And so we make sure we have enough feed to make sure that she gets what it's recommended. So Ellis is going for 4 hours. Why have you gone for 4 hours, Ellis? I'm assuming what you've done is 24 hours, divide by 6, so that every 4 hours she gets a feed. And you'll see in a second, that's kind of right. Although, yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. But can anyone see how many millilitres you need per scoop? Because this is some of the maths you have to do, you see. We've got that it's three scoops here, and that gives you 90 millilitres. So again, we've got this proportion problem. So if I go here and come across the screen, my table just told you that 3 scoops is for 90 millilitres. That's how much water, and that's how much powder. So we have to do the math. Well, how many does each 1 scoop mean? This is sometimes called the unitary method because we're trying to find what 1 is. If we know what 3 is, what is 1? And we need to realise that has been divided by 3. It's always times and divide. I know you could take away 2, but we don't do take away when we're doing conversions like this. If 3 scoops is 90, 1 scoop gets divided by 3, so it must be 30 millilitres per scoop. And it just so happens, as you've possibly noticed, that 30 millilitres is 1 fluid ounce. They're not the same. We talked about ounces already today. Fluid ounce is 30 millilitres. So 1 fluid ounce. And that makes it easier. 1 scoop is 1 fluid ounce. But you can see I had to do some math just to do a conversion there. So if I wanted to do 5 scoops and I didn't have the table handy, I'd need to go, okay, well, 1 scoop is 30 mil. So 5 scoops, I need to times that by 5, times that by 5. That must be 150 millilitres. So you can see 1 scoop goes to 30, so 5 scoops goes to 150. Okay, so you can see what we're trying to do here is use the multipliers to convert between the different things. And you can do that with any number of scoops. If I wanted 7 scoops, I could rub out this bit, do-doop-a-doop, rub out this bit. You have to go do-doop-a-doop when you do it, when you rub things out, do-doop-a-doop. And I can say, oh, now she's got a bit bigger, we now need 7 scoops. 7 scoops is times by 7, so it's 210 mil. And you can use that. What we sometimes have to do is we make up a bit more because we can always put it in the fridge and then reheat and then warm it up ready when you want to feed. So sometimes it's better to make, if she's doing 3 scoops a time, it's sometimes better to make a 6 scoop thing. She has the first half and we've still got a bottle made up. Because sometimes we're a bit tired in the middle of the night and having to boil the kettle and wait for the water to cool down, and then we have to put it. So it's all complicated stuff. But I'm learning how to be a dad, so it's all good. Coming back to the studio, I've talked solidly to you for a good long time, so well done if you're following all the things I've been trying to teach you today, all the maths we've been trying to follow. So, one of the things that they tell you about, but you never really quite prepare for, is sleep. And this has been me for the last few days. I've been falling asleep, and my wife will say, Paul, and I'm like, what? I didn't do it. It wasn't my fault. And I'll try and stay awake, but it's best always, if I'm ever woken up by my wife, it's always best to start with an apology, just in case she was talking to me and I forgot, and I didn't listen properly. So I was like, what's going on? Where am I? So, in order to do that, I thought I'd show you what a night looks like for Mr. Harris. This was my Thursday night. All you have to do is work out how much sleep I managed to get. It's a maths problem, because you've got to work out, where is Mr. Harris sleeping? Where is Mr. Harris awake? Can you work out exactly how much sleep I got? Okay, thank you for those people who are contributing to the live chat. Some excellent contributions there. Josh, Sophie, Alicia, Patrick, Ellis. Really, really cool. Iona. Anyone got any ideas how much sleep I've made? So you can see, this is a real maths problem. And I talked in my transition video a few weeks ago about real maths. The reason this is a real maths problem is because in this problem, this is a real thing that happened. It doesn't tell you what to go, where to go. You have to read it, and it's something called comprehension. You have to understand which bits of information are useful. Okay, so we have to understand where in here the useful maths information is. Now, the story was that I put her to bed, went to bed myself about 11:30, couldn't get to sleep until about midnight because someone was snoring. I will say no names, but it wasn't me. And then she woke up at 2:30 crying, so I quickly whipped her out, changed her nappy. Her nappy was full of poo, so I cleaned it all up. While I was cleaning up the poo, she did some more poo. So I was like, and that was, so I'd taken the first nappy off and put the second nappy underneath, so she actually pooed that nappy. Then I cleaned all that up, and then while I put a new nappy under her, and as soon as I put the new nappy on, she weed everywhere in it. So I had two nappies full of poo and a nappy full of wee. So then I had to take the third nappy off, and so I put a new clean one on. So she had 4 nappies. I was like, oh, good grief. And this was only in like 2 seconds. So this was at 2:30 in the morning. So you can imagine how fun that was. So we then went downstairs. She was being a bit restless. So we went down, had a feed. She did her feed, and then I laid her down in her crib. And while she was in her crib, I thought, oh, she'll go to sleep now. And I laid down to get some sleep. Started crying. So I let her cry for like 2 minutes, but it's so difficult to let a baby cry. So I picked her up and cuddled her. As soon as I picked her up and cuddled her, stopped crying. Just laid on my chest going, Alright, okay. But she would not fall asleep. She had eyes so wide open. Her eyes were like the most wide open I'd ever seen any person's eyes. She's like looking around. This is exciting. I'm like, this is not exciting. This is 3:30 in the morning. So I called my brother in New Zealand. We had a chat while we were doing it. But it's just like, can't you just go to sleep now, please? So 4:30, she finally goes to sleep, and I put her in a cot, and she stays asleep. So I thought I'll get some sleep now at 4:30. Fell asleep. 6 o'clock, she woke up for some more milk. Like, which had been about 3.5 hours. And Ellis said about 4 hours. So it's about 3.5, 4 hours. So once she woke up for milk and was crying, I was like, I have to give her some more milk. So I finally did all the milk, did another change, another 2 nappies done. Then finally get to sleep at 6:30. And then my dog woke me up at 7 o'clock. So has anyone worked out how much? 2 hours of poop? Yes, pretty much. 3 hours. Sophie and Josh has gone for. Isaac Sharp's gone for 3 hours. Adeline Chunk's gone for 3 hours. 3 hours of sleep. That's exactly what I got. 3 hours sleep. I got 2.5 hours of sleep from midnight till 2:30, and then 1.5 more hours from 4:30 to 6. Which, if you have 1.5 to 2.5, you get 4. Then I got half an hour more. So it was 5.5 hours was the total I got. Let's have a look at where I got those hours. So I got to sleep at midnight, and there's 2.5 hours there. From 2 hours, from 2 to 2 in the morning, 2.5 gets you to 2:30. Then I fell asleep again at 6 o'clock. 6:30 I fell asleep. 4:30 I fell asleep. So from 4:30 to 6, I got another hour and a half. So 2 add 1 is 3. And half add a half makes a whole one, so you're up to 4. So I'm now at 4 hours. Then I finally got a little half an hour from 6:30 to 7. So I had 4.5 hours, which is not very much sleep at all. And I'm someone who needs, you can tell just by looking at me, I'm someone who needs about 10 hours sleep. With my energy, I'm going, I need about 10 hours sleep. 4.5 hours of disturbed sleep is no good for Mr. Harris, especially when you spent all of that time clearing up poop. So, I was exhausted. So you can see there's a lot of maths going on here in this problem. You have to try and solve the puzzle of, hardly any basically. I'm trying to solve the puzzle here of working out how much sleep I had just by looking at all the facts. Did you all see why the answer was 4.5 hours? It was 12 till 2:30 is 2.5. Then 4:30 to 6 is 1.5. That makes 4, and then an extra half an hour, 4.5 hours. Okay, so it should be 4.5 hours. Okay, not very much at all. Alice, I agree. Most humans need 8 to 9 hours. I need about 12 because I'm a tired, grumpy man. Anyway, that has been some baby maths today. Some of the maths I've been doing. I hope you've learned something and seen some different things that I've been trying to explain to you. I've been trying to cover a lot of different things that have happened since the baby done. As you can see, I've got another lesson planned. I'm trying to cut down and just do 2 a day at the moment, rather than trying to fill my schedule, because I want to spend some time with baby as well. And I need to help my wife out. She's been a soldier, and she's been looking after her, and she might be crying at the moment. So I've got to go and look after her. And my next one will be at 12 o'clock, so that I've got a bit of time to prepare and a bit of time to look after baby. Maybe get some food. Who knows? Maybe have time for some toast. So what have I left you to do? Well, I haven't given you a worksheet today. What I've done is I've suggested for the next few days, it will help me out if this week and maybe next week, if you can do the primary school 5-a-day maths worksheets. I've put the link in the description below the video. They've got the answers there, so you can mark them yourselves, but they are tiered to you, so you just have to work out which level is the right one for you. You don't want it to be too easy, but you don't want it to be too hard. So try one and then try the next one and try the next one. Go to that link. There's one for every day. So you can click on them and do the ones for today, and it'll give you a range of different math things. And then if you've got any questions, send me an email. Go on Facebook and send me things. You know I love it when people send me email photos of them things. And I've got another Taskmaster thing for this week. Put the most things beginning with an I on a tray. Who is going to be the person who manages to get the most things beginning with I on their tray? Is it going to be you? Is it? Is it though? So there's your challenge for this week. Lots of things beginning with I. Some clever things will add to your numbers of I's, and also the primary 5-a-day maths worksheets. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. I hope you've enjoyed meeting Isabella Rose. I won't do every video about Isabella Rose. The next one will be about something else later in the week. I can't even remember what it is. It's on the timetable. If you're not sure, if you don't know about the Facebook group, if you're parents or carers, go to the Facebook page for Mr. School and Mr. Harris. I've always got on there the timetable for the week, so you can see what you're learning each day and what day you've got lessons, because there isn't one at 11 today. There is one at 12, and that's for secondary school, and it's how to draw straight line graphs. So anyone who wants to learn to draw straight line graphs, it's going to be tiered at year 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, but feel free to check it out if you want to. I've been Mr. Harris. You haven't. Look after yourself. Stay safe. I'll speak to you soon.